It's Friday afternoon. You've been working your butt off on ad hoc tasks that your boss has been giving you, and suddenly you get a notification in your team group chat. Your team lead asks, "Why wasn't this delivered on time?" Completely changes the mood. You don't feel like it's your fault. You're the one who's been given all these tasks. Has this ever happened to you? This is how questions can be offensive. Your team lead may have just been innocently asking for a status update, but the way that the question was asked felt like an attack, especially in a group setting, in the group chat. In this video, we're going to talk about how questions are offensive, why they're offensive, and then we're going to go into how you can be less offensive when you want to ask a question. 3 reasons why questions can be offensive. The first thing is that questions can imply doubt. When you are questioning someone about something, even when the question is neutral, it could sound like you are implying or you're signaling that you believe their opinion is wrong. This is typically true when you're questioning decisions or thoughts. So that's the first reason why questions can be offensive, because it implies doubt. The second reason questions can be offensive is the tone or phrasing of how the question is framed. A question could be completely neutral, but the way you ask it could cause someone to feel like it is an attack or make them become defensive. This is especially true when it is questions in written form, because you can't really convey tone, and that's where phrasing comes in, and it creates a lot of weight when a question is asked. When it comes to face-to-face conversation, when you want to ask a question, typically avoid sarcastic or abrupt questions. Why did you blah blah blah? Or instead of saying why did you could say, "Can you please explain to me why you thought this?" For example. The third reason why questions can be offensive, and this is especially true for Malaysia, is because of cultural norms. Malaysia, like a lot of Asian countries, put a lot of importance on hierarchy. Malaysia particularly emphasizes harmony and saving face. So what this results in is indirect communication style. Malaysians typically speak in more subtle tones or indirectness, and in turn, being direct can be seen as rude or offensive or confrontational. Now we're going to talk about how we can ask questions without being as offensive. The first thing you can do to be less offensive when you ask questions is to lead with curiosity. When you lead with curiosity, you frame yourself as the core reason of the question instead of attacking the individual. When you frame yourself as the reason for the question, you give the person the opportunity to help you through the question. For example, you could lead with curiosity, straight up, just say, "I'm curious about this. Can you explain?" Or, "Can you walk me through how you made this decision?" Clearly takes the onus off the person you're asking the question and putting on yourself for your own clarity. The second thing you can do to create less offensive questions is to frame the question as an invitation to collaborate. So in this way, typically use the word we, us. When you frame a question and attack it as a team, it doesn't feel offensive towards the individual. So examples of how you can ask questions like this is, how should we attack this problem? Or what do you think is the best way for us to align this project to the timeline, for example? So it's more of a team effort, a collaboration, and not typically a single person being called out for a certain thing. And the third thing you can do is to acknowledge a person's context. This is typically useful when you're asking someone who is deeply invested in a certain thing. So when you're asking someone who has invested a lot of time, effort, and made decisions on a certain thing that you want to ask about, this method works best. For example, you can acknowledge the hard work that someone's put into the project and then follow with a question. So it would sound something like this: I see you've been doing really well on this project. Could you help walk me through the decision that you made? I love the structure that you've used for this document. Could you tell me more about the data? So these are some ways that you can make questions less offensive. Questions don't need to be risky or offensive. As long as you lead with curiosity, use the right tone and phrasing, frame your question well, and acknowledge the person you're asking. Next time, when you need clarity, it's all about how you frame the question. Start with respect, and a conversation will follow.